Portraits. I see her face. It's youthful and it's pure. It's hopeful and waiting for the world to greet her, the challenge, to mold her, to be something better. I saw her reaction as her mother lay on the floor, gasping for breath and waiting for the answers to prayers she sent far away on that night. He got too upset to shout at her anymore. I felt her anguish as she chose the wrong side, defending a man whose blood boiled at the sight of anything less than his expectations of the world and everything around him. Yet she stayed. I heard her cry herself to sleep the countless nights. She heard the echoes of her life being torn at the seams. I tried to reach my arms around her tight, but she was unable to feel my sympathy. I saw her try to hide how she felt and keep that smile across her face as she stood up and went on with her life, though her insides were lost and destroyed. I touched her face as she began to bleed from the memories that she couldn't hide any longer. It was time for her to brush off the past and embrace the future. But I know just as well it's easier said than done. I pleaded with her mind to find the strength to keep pushing for something better. I told her to put it down. It just wasn't worth it. Things would look up. She just needed to open her eyes. I saw her look in the mirror day after day, seeing all the flaws she knew they would find, attempting to hide them the best she could, just so explanations would be put to rest. I felt her hands trace the walls as she pushed with anger against them, feeling alone and undeserving of everything in life she had ever received. I know her face, and I know her pain. I smell the salt in her tears, feel the worry in her heart. I hear her cries, and she screams, echoing in my ears. It's my life, after all, and I remember everything. False pretense. Remember that night we cracked our ribs and looked around to see if anything was left of our broken hearts and tattered souls, but we never knew where to begin. It's times like these where I look back to that night, the look on your face as we touched the first time. How is it that something so sublime could become just another memory in a midnight dream? You swore if I let your name cross my lips once more, that you'd break down these walls. You promised me the world and left me with a diamond-sized bruise where your hand had ventured through. I saw you that night and overheard you speak of travels we both knew you never voyaged, and the people we both knew you didn't meet. You didn't care any more for the truth. It's fantasy that suits you. Is there a name for the games we play, hidden behind closed doors on that summer night, when everything wrong just didn't faze our minds, and making love was an act of courage and not a crime? Remember when you called me your shooting star, exploding under the twilight sunrise we lay above, the morning after you told me you wanted anyone else? I guess I should have known. Stars never last that long. You were the greatest mistake I ever made, bridging gaps between bedposts and window panes, breaking free from the innocence we held so close to our hearts, until one day reality decided to cave us in. Don't tell me you forget the sudden deafening in your ear when I told you that you were nothing but a puppet I strung along for fun. Don't you see, baby? You might be good at breaking hearts, but at least I can control one. Suddenly, the inside of my chest begins to mend. Cross stitches cover the places where you dug to find any kind of sign of life, or any heart at the time. What you fail to realize is it was taken by another man. Lust versus love. Killing time with tongue in cheek. Simplicity is your forte. as my mind is racing, with thoughts and feelings that I can't define. You are the hammer crushing me, chasing me as the lights flare across the sky. A million reasons why I should be keeping distance from the bombs that burst like landmines, flailing my arms, hoping to be rescued before it's too late. You've caught me, and the smirk on your face shows me you're impressed and hoping I will make this prize worth the wait, unveiling that the book should not be judged by its cover. I'm suffering in the silence tonight has brought us, kissing the smoke rings that leave your lips, as you speak tales of fine journeys and those of whom you've conquered and left for dead along the way. Your hair is slicked back, and by the nervousness in your hands, I can tell you are just dying to reach for the part of me you are unable to touch, hoping that one too many sips of happiness will leave me to your ease. But I am not as foolish as I once may have seemed, wetting my lips with a shot of deceit, for you were the introduction to the vices that strapped me to the guillotine this time. By now my vision has hazed over, and you are looking quite the gentleman. It's a wonder what a pint and some wishing can do for an excuse like a man, like yourself. Stumbling from where we sat and debated about the sorrows of your terrible deeds, you invite me to a heavenly escape where no soul rests without the pleasure of lust. Tripping at my feet as if I were a beggar, parading the streets with pockets full of yesterday's change and this week's knowledge that my lust-stricken ways have come flooding in. Waiting for the moment you sweep me off my feet, lips run dry from the sweat pouring off, this numb and collapsed mind. What has become of me? I'm going down in history as your greatest victory. You've got me dancing upon this bed of sin, tapping to the beat of the background noise. Echoes of women are now perusing my ears, as though the soundtrack of tonight's activity will haunt me. Forever it has seemed, since the last time I felt this needy and wanted, in the arms of a man who has shared himself with some who left without morale, but full of love. Or money, as you call it, for no woman can surpass the taste of a toast to wealthiness and greed, the lit end of a cigarette after the charade is done. The fire burning between us is harnessing this bed of hollowed heaven between the sheets, of courtesy kissed and falsely created love. We both know how this is going to end. The morning after brings no solitude to my mind. I'm left with shaded figures and a memory that has no recollection of the time we spent reminiscing of past loves and forgotten crusades.